practice politics?
Good question.
Sure it is.
Yeah.
But you see, I faced the same thing when I was a teacher. Okay? Everybody under the sun knew that they could do a better job than the teacher standing in the front of the classroom.
Then why don't they do it?
Exactly. First of all, one reason they wouldn't do it is that the pay, it just wouldn't be enough. And number two, to be, disrespected at any time by either a supervisor or one of the kids or even a parent, and not be able to say anything, Um, what can I tell you?
Well, listen, but that's is the president for Common Core?
Hmm?
Is the president for Common Core?
I don't believe so. No, in fact, he came out today saying that there's too much testing, too much time spent on testing, you know, too much of a push.
Hmm. Well, it's. How do you feel about that Common Core?
I don't know that much about it because I have not been in a classroom in 12 years. So I really haven't followed anything with Common Core. I really couldn't say. And rather than make a complete fool of myself, which is not very hard to do, I'm just not going to say anything.
So why don't you make a half a fool of yourself and say something?
No, because I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
Okay,
But
I really haven't done any reading on it. You know, look, that's like No Child Left Behind.
Yeah.
Out here on the island where we live, it's very rare that a child is held back a year. Okay, very rare. They always wind up getting promoted. In the city, you can be held back once in elementary school and once in junior high school. In high school, they don't figure in anymore because they figure once you hit 16, if you're going to drop out, you're going to drop out anyway. That's your prerogative and right as a student.
Yeah, but I don't understand why. If you deserve to be left back, you get left back. I know there's a lot of social impact on the kids and all that.
Well, that's why you have kids who are, in high school that are reading fifth grade level. How can you get into high school and be reading fifth grade level?
Well, as I said, there was all the stigmatism of being with kids that are much younger than you, and it's too bad. You don't want to study, you don't want to learn, you're too young to quit school. You go where we tell you. That's the end of it. I mean, it's a shame.
But what's the shame is that young people today don't see, the older people, parents, and even those who are not that much older, if they've learned their lesson, understand that the way out of poverty is through education. And education is power. That if you get an education and if you make something out of yourself, you can then come back and make change, help to make change in the things that you see that are wrong.
Well, the problem is, and as you probably know, is a lot of the people that the youth now idolize are the guys that get rich quick, which is drug dealers.
Well, that's why they all think they're going to make it in the NBA, professional basketball players.
Yeah, drug dealers, basketball players.
They're going to play football,
Rappers. Everybody's going to be a rapper or, do something.
One of my favorite writing assignments for the kids was to write a paragraph about, where do you see yourself in 10 years? Now, in 5 years. Okay. Now, I had 8th graders, so they were supposed to be 13, but they could have been anywhere from 13 to almost 16. Okay. So in 5 years, you're talking about they're anywhere from 18 to 21. And one kid said, I really don't think about the future because he said, I had two friends who were killed already, he said, and there's a good chance that before I'm 20, I'm going to be dead. It's kind of tough, when you read something like that. But that's the reality that many of them live under.
Yeah, and it's funny, it's all your parents. It's almost all your parents, and just where your mindset is. I have a few people that I know. Some are from Trinidad and some from Guyana, all coming into the country, all poor, but every one of the kids are going to college.
Well, ask yourself this question, Felix. Bottom line, my grandparents, your grandparents were killed, but my grandparents came from Europe. Barely, my father's parents had barely an elementary school education. My mother's parents graduated high school. Okay, that's a big deal back then. They went to high school. All right. But for the most part, college was made. They knew that the way to become a successful American was to get an education. School. Do well in school. Okay. Work hard to make something out of yourself.
Yeah. But as I was saying before, these people, plus another one who's in Central America, they all currently have menial jobs, but they all somehow manage to save enough money to send their kids to college, all going to good schools, and all of them saying their whole life is just concentrating on getting their kids through college and making life better for them. And people that are living here already, they've been here for generations, lost that drive.
Well, that's why, many people who contribute to charities overseas, okay, to third world countries. And when I say to them, well, what about this country? And they say, what the problem is? The problem is that young people in this country don't appreciate the things that are done for them.
I mean, yeah, look at
in other countries, to go to school even, to be able to go to school and learn. Only the very rich were able to do that up until a number of years ago. Now, just about almost everybody is at least guaranteed an elementary school education. In Pakistan, in Afghanistan, okay, in Iraq, women in greater numbers are going on to finish high school and go on to college with the threat, like Malala, of getting shot or killed because, according to Sharia law, a woman's place is in the home. They don't have to learn and get an education.
All they have to do is make babies. There's a doctor that I go to. His name is Sehe Sanjay. He's an Indian. And I didn't know where he was, so I Googled him. And I said, darn, there's too many of them. I didn't know which one it was. But then I looked closer. They're all at the same address.
It's all the same guy.
It's him, his wife, and his 4 kids. They're all doctors. Different specialties. So you go into his office, you've got a clinic.
Basically, yeah.
And it's quite interesting. Because I called up and I said, I want to speak to Dr. Make an appointment with Dr. Sanjay. And
which one, they say.
Exactly. Which one? I said, and I wasn't quite sure which one he was at the time. The first time I went
And
to
you,
him.
but you did say the obstetrician, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Opposite. No, I told him the pediatrician. I like being treated like a little baby.
Okay.
So, it's the opportunities here in the United States. That's why everybody's trying to get in here, all the illegal immigrants. The opportunities are in the United States are here, but you can't, but unfortunately too many people want them handed to them. My parents came into this country with nothing, and they managed with menial jobs. My father was a house painter, or my mother was a seamstress, but they bought 3 houses. They did very well for themselves by saving money and just being careful what they do and living a smart life. They paid for my college education, and they paid for my brother's college education. I mean, I took out some loans, but they basically paid for most of our kids, their kids' education. And when I didn't want to go to college, my mother was up my donkey all the time to get back to school. So, if it wasn't for her, I probably would have never graduated college.
My father used to say that after he came back from World War II, he said the biggest mistake, he made 2 mistakes. One was that he never took advantage of the GI Bill of Rights that would have gotten him a mortgage for a home. He said, my mother lived in a house, and she didn't want a home, and he loved my mother, and he just never bought a house. He said that was a big mistake. And the other big mistake he made before that was that he could have gone to college. He was accepted to St. John's as an accounting major, and he didn't go. He felt it was more important to help his family. Okay, he had an older sister and a younger brother, and he went to work to help the family. And my grandparents, his parents, had a candy store. And my mother's parents, my grandmother was a stay-at-home mom, and my grandfather was a tailor who only worked part of the season. If you know anything about the garment center, you know that they work between 6 and 8 months out of the year. And the other times they don't work because there is no work.
Well, it's just part of life. But they managed. They managed much better than we did. We're going to play a little bit of songs today from iPluggers. The first song I'm going to play is called Playlist. Oh, no, that's not a song. When You Do. The artist's name is Paul Leon from the United Kingdom.